Jai Gajanan, Ganeshaya Namastubhyam, Herambaya Ekadantine, Swanandavasine Tubhyam, Brahmanaspataye Namah. With humble pranams to all Paramacharyas, Acharyas and Gurus. Let us continue the discussion on the Vinayaka Rahasyam Part 2, Yoga Sara. Here we are having the discussion between Brahma and the Munis. Now the Munis are asking Brahma, when drinking etc. increased during the period of Daityas, the doctrines that were established on earth by Chakru was destroyed in some of the regions because of the atrocities committed by this Daityas. They simply went about burning the books and destroying Yajna Karmas. So, O Padmasambhava, O one born from the lotus, please tell us all about that. Brahma replies, Ganesha and Ganaka were masters in the knowledge of Vedas. The great personality of Ganesha, is the Turya state of all the four Ishwaras, Shiva, Vishnu, Shakti and Surya, their unmanifested state. Together, the source is Ganesha. And this Ganesha it is an ansh of this Ganesha who was born as Ganesha in the house of Shiva and Parvati at Kailash. And it was that Ganesha who got the trunk of an elephant and who was later crowned as Ganesha Brahmanaspati and who took over the position of Brahmadeva. Brahmadeva was made into Pitamaha, and that is grandfather's position, and he took position as Brahmanaspati. And so as the Jeshta Raja, the first worshipped, he got that position, elevated to that position by Shiva. So now this Brahma is saying that the great personality of Ganesha, who was in the Turya state, the vibrations from his outgoing breath, that is from his exhalation, took the shape of the Vedas. So originally Brahma had, from the mouth of Brahma, the Vedas, all the alphabets, everything came into existence. But subsequently, after the Kruta Yuga was over, in the Treta Yuga, when again after annihilation, when once again the creation aspect started, the Ganesha was the Turya, unmanifest aspect of all the four Ishwaras. So as a fifth Ishwara, as a Pancham, and so from his exhalation, that of outgoing breath, all the Vedas manifested once again. So the origin of Vedas took birth in the form of Ganaka Rishi. So he is the Guru in all the worlds, and Shiva is the Guru of the Gurus. He always is standing besides Gananatha with devotion. Taking a human form, out of his own will, he came on this earth. That is, an Ansh portion himself came as Gananatha, Ganaka Rishi, and he incarnated as a human being with his own desire. Initially, he came on earth in the Kruta Yuga for the establishment of knowledge. Then, at that time, Mahayogi Angiras and Munindra Yoga Mudgal was born, who was born in the house of Angiras, was his favorite student. He became one of the Pancha Yogis during the period of incarnation of Prince Ganesha as Shiva's son, O Munishwara. So this Guru Shishya pair became proficient in all the yoga siddhis. At the sight of the child, when they saw the Ganesha playing at that is, son was born to Shiva and Sati at Somnath, that is to Somaraja. Shiva was the king at that time of Somnath, of the entire region. So Somaraja, my son Bhrigu, that is my son Bhrigu himself was a student of Mudgal Yogi. That is, Brahma is saying, my son Bhrigu himself, Bhrigu Muni was the mind-born son of Brahma. So he himself was a student of Mudgal Maharshi. Bhrigu was a yogi along with Sanaka and others before Bhrigu and Mudgala himself. So during the period of the Daityas in the Dwapar Yuga, a man was dependent on the caste he was born into. That started at the time when the young lad took birth as prince in the house of Somaraja. So it was with the birth of Ganesha as Shiva and Sati's son as Somaraja's son, that the caste system came about. The Ganesh Advaita philosophy was brought by Munindra Bhrigu Muni to the assembly of Somaraja. It was the opinion of Ganaka Guru, Mudgala, and the Pancha Yogindras to destroy the proponents of Vaidikas, as they were supporters of Asuras. Now, in those days, when we also saw the birth of Daityas, Asuras also were not necessarily evil in the beginning. They were also students of the rishis, they also studied the Vedas, and they subsequently, when they became evil minded, when the desire arose for dominance, that is when the evil minded mentality came into them, and it was then that Bhrigu Muni had to the Ganaka Guru, Mudgala and Pancha Yogindras, they decided that in order to to destroy this who are the Vaidikas who are helping this Asuras. So they were called Vaidikas because they were not following the Vedas for good purposes. Those who abuse the Vedas are called Avaidikas, just as the opposite of Suras, that is gods, is Asuras. So these to destroy these Avaidikas, Ganaka Guru and all, they decided at the end of Dwapar Yuga to restore these Shastras in the form of Sutras. Sutras are pithy statements composed which will contain the meaning of those Vedas in a very short sentences. These excellent and incomparable Shastras were created by Bhrigu Muni during the end of Dwapar Yuga, and they were accepted by about 108,000 Munis. At that time, all were Munis, most of them were Munis. It is also said that there was no such Yogindra during the whole of Kruta Yuga who had done such a work as the Shastras for the Vaidikas. Then Ganaka Shastras are unique for study through recitation under the guidance of a Guru. Ganaka and others reinstated the Shastras toward the end of Dwapara. No doubt there have been other stalwarts as well who have written books in the Vedas during the Kruta Yuga. They were made to disappear by Ganaka when the faiths were attacked. During the rule of Prince Ganesha, that is Ganaka means here Prince Ganesha. During the rule of Prince Ganesha on earth, the evil-minded were destroyed and Vedic practices were re-established. Chatura, along with his Shishyas, was born to Shambhu of Somnath, whom even the highest Siddhas serve. This Chaturanana, Chatura here means Chaturanana, with the four limbs, and he was born to Shambhu and Sati at Somnath. He was a very embodiment of knowledge. He was so clever that even the Siddhas, those who had achieved several siddhis, psychic powers through various spiritual practices, they also served him and along with all his ganas. Then Mayuresh, the yogi of Somnathpura, pleased them in various ways like bathing in the waters flowing from the Kamandalu. Everybody worshipped as prescribed and performed puja to the Lord of Swananda, whose Nitya Yatra was taken according to ritual prescribed by the Guru of Gurus. As per his orders, the king and others, they also celebrated this birth of Ganesha on earth as per their abilities. And once again, the yoga that had vanished away earlier from the earth was re-established. When Mayuresha was born, Ganaka's students offered sweet dishes to Paramatma. Along with Chatura, the students too attained many siddhis. By practice of yoga, you derive a variety of siddhis. Not only did Ganaka enjoy proximity to the Lord and attain the wealth of these siddhis, but he also attained the most precious wealth that Ganaka Rishi received was proximity to Ganesha, being close, being the Ganesha's most favorite, and so being Ganesha's most favorite, he always kept him very close to him. In this manner, Ganaka became Guru of all Gurus, and he is always standing in the presence of Ganesha, facing Ganesha. He is seated in Siddhasan in Mayureshpura in the assembly of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Munishwaras. He has an assembly, in that time he had an assembly in Mayureshpura. In his governance, there is no other person who is such an intellectual like Ganaka Rishi. There was nobody who was as intelligent in that whole of assembly during his period. So the Dvijas, that is the twice borns, they said, in this kshetra, the idol was installed by mentally deranged people. The destroyed idol of Ganapa installed by the Daityas was worshipped by man. So in Mayureshpura, the Brahmins, in Mayureshpura, the Ganaka Rishi was the one who was serving the Lord. So one of the Dvijas in that village, in that town, there he came and told, in this kshetra, the idol that we were worshipping was actually installed by the mentally deranged people. That is, the Daityas who were there, they had installed Ganapa and they were worshipping the Ganesha idol there. For a long time, it was worshipped in this way without adherence to Varnashrama Dharma. So they didn't follow any of the rituals and practices. They did their own thing and worshipped the Ganesha's idol there. So they were so foolish that they even worshipped through Tantra Marga at the same place. Puja of Ganapa was done by followers with devotion, even by followers who are following the Pashanda Marga. That is, which was not Vedic path, not based on Vedic mantras. They also did puja of Ganapa. In both cases, the intoxicated nature of the Daityas and Danavas were destroyed by the Supreme. So, how the practices or the leftovers due to the impact left behind by the worship of Ganapa by the Daityas and all these others, Pashanda Margis, a Brahmin named Gargi, whose father was learned in the Shastras, was set forth for the practice. So he was sent forth for purification of the place. So he took the practice of repentance according to the instruction of Nagna Bhairava. Nagna Bhairava is one of the Bhairavas who incarnated for protecting that place. Bhairavas are normally those who protect a particular region, a particular village. There's always a Bhairava statue at the entrance to the village. So here Nagna Bhairava was also there. So he, according to his instructions, he undertook practice of repentance. He created the cremation and ancestral rites of the Brahmins, and he made use of the tools from Vedic Siddhanta. Following the Ganapa Marga worship of Gajanana, Varnatraya came into being. So it was Garga Maharshi who re-established the Vedic Marga of Gajanana, and the Varnatraya, the three Varnas, came into being and got established in Mayura Kshetra. All Ganesh Vaidikas were experts in the knowledge of the Vedic path. Then the Tantra Ganapatas were considered Shudras. Those who practiced the Tantra Marga, they were considered Shudras, like people from the low caste. In this kshetra, the position of a guru was like that of a father. Everyone followed the instructions of the father. That position really was unique. So in Morgaon Kshetra, the position of a guru is like that of a father. So everyone followed his instructions. The philosophy is that what the father said, everybody listened. So all Shastras consider Brahma to be the one who is the original cause of everything. So the words which are taken, saying the means actually even the words themselves become the name and form. They take the shape of a particular form meant by the words, the sound of the words. So that is how there is sound manifestation. That is how the world of names and forms came into existence. In the third part of the Vedas, we come across a statement which says that all that can have that has a name and form are said to be of that name and form. Anything that can have a name and form will be of that name and form. So if it will, that means it carries the essence of that name and form. That is why the name is very important. The moment we say a name, we immediately, a word is said, we immediately associate the emotion behind that, the feeling behind that. So when we say a name, let us say the name of Rama. When we say the word of Rama, he has a name, his form comes into before our eyes. We know the qualities he stands for, his character, and everything that goes behind Rama. So everything that has a name and form is contained in that name and form. So the Vedikas, as per they believed in the power of Veda mantras. Similarly, the different suktas also have different mantras. So worship of each one is different, and there are Veda mantras for worship of different names and forms. Even when we worship the Tulsi plant, there is a mantra for the Tulsi plant. When we worship the river, there is a mantra for the river. When we worship the Kalash, there is a mantra for Kalash. So any name and form, there are words associated with that. Everything is according to Vedas, but doing japa of one mantra of Ganesha is enough to please the Paramatma. So even if we say Gajanana, 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 or Ganganapate Nama, Om Ganganapate Nama, that itself pleases the Supreme. Among the several suktas, one could recite at least one of them every day. It is also we also should do archana, make some offerings of flowers or durva grass, which Ganapa likes very much. Because when we make some offering, it fulfills our desires. It gives us the joy as though our desires are fulfilled. So you can worship either a single person or more or several deities according to your choice, but worshipping one deity with single pointed devotion gives more results. That is what is advised by the Guru. Kanaka always said, Ekameva Advaitam Brahma. Advaita Brahma is Ekameva, is one and one only. This is what is contained in the Jnana Khanda. So endowed with a name and form, Brahma is with attributes. Jiva too is equipped with attributes. Just Jiva, attributes means various organs, sense organs, organs of action. And Jiva is just like that of the Ishvara. He resembles an Ishvara in a microcosmic form. By division of attributes, Jiva with attributes is infinite. When the Supreme Being divided his power among all the Jivas, the number of Jivas became infinite. As a result of which, there may be Jivas equipped as such, as per the Veda Shastras. So there was a well which is near the banks of the river, near the Brahma Kamandalu in Maireshwar. Comparison of the waters can be seen literally for evidence. Brahma's attributes may be saguna or nirguna. Brahma may be manifest or unmanifest. When he is manifest, he has attributes. When he is unmanifest, he is without attributes. So, in the unmanifest form, we consider him as God. In yoga, Bindu is supported by Maya, because from that Bindu only Maya manifested herself and expressed as the innumerable enchanting things in this world. So Maya manifested, and when united with consciousness, she became an individual living being. So many individuals, portion of Maya, portion of consciousness, they became the Jivas. So, and the total collective of all these beings created by Maya and consciousness is known as Ganas, and the Lord of this Ganas is Ganesha. With this, we end today's session. Jai Gajanan.